Not the case everywhere. Matter of fact, Andrew Schulz recently said something. Rob, if you can pull up this clip from Andrew Schulz. I don't know what all of a sudden happened and prompted Andrew Schulz to say this, but go ahead and play this clip of Andrew Schulz reacting to what happened between Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens. Go ahead.
He makes the argument for censorship. He calls it something else.
Yeah, I forget the term. I have it in my phone.
But I don't even think he's using the term right. But he's basically like, there's a window of ideas we accept.
Yes.
And we accept ideas between this, I guess this is, if I get window, you're looking like this. So we accept ideas between here and here. And anything outside of that window, well, you're fireable. That's censorship.
What?
But he's acting as if this is like a justified reason for firing people when you built your identity and platform off of no censorship and freedom of speech and facts don't care about your feelings and all this shit.
It's also funny that that window happens to end where his beliefs end.
Isn't
it interesting?
You would say that.
Not being pro-Israel, that's where the window ends. That's also your specific personal belief.
What?
So I just don't see.
You can't have an opinion on your platform that is not pro a country that is not ours?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Crazy. I wish.
So is the Daily Wire an American media platform or is it an Israeli media platform? I'm just asking.
This guy's cooking.
I'm just asking. If the rule is, I'm just saying, if the rule is you cannot be critical, because he has no problem being very critical of America.
Yep.
He's critical of the left in America. Left is half the country. You have no problem eviscerating half of the country.
That's the current party in power.
But you can't criticize Israel as a country. That's just another country, unless you're saying, and you're clearly admitting, that the Daily Wire is an arm of the Israeli, I guess, media or propaganda machine. Is that? Oof. Are you manipulating the religious right in America? Are you manipulating the right-wing conservatives in America and selling them country western movies and putting on your little cowboy hat and fake moving to Nashville so that you could take all their money and then in the process restricting free speech, one of the core tenets of the American identity? Ben. Benjamin. What is happening? There's trouble in Paris.
Pause it right there. For context, Daily Wire is in Nashville, but he's in Florida. But yeah, what do you think about his points?
I mean, it makes a valid point, but and I sent Rob another video of Ben kind of contradicting himself, but he's 100% right. Like what? And by the way, that's what attracted me to Ben Shapiro in the first place. That dialogue, that everybody say what you want, do what you want. Facts don't care about your feelings. This is a place where you can say anything except that one topic. And we obviously know Ben is 1,000% Israel. We get it. It's no secret. They could do no wrong. And can we play this, Patrick? I sent Rob this clip of Ben basically contradicting himself.
We have literally tens of millions of people in the United States who are afraid that the cancel culture is coming for them. And cancel culture does exist. Okay, so what this results in very, very often is corporations looking to cram down a particular viewpoint on you and then cancel you. When it comes to the hosts on the Daily Wire, obviously everyone is able to say what they want. But the reality is that there is an Overton window at the Daily Wire. There are polls out there that show that a vast majority of Americans in every single political group, including liberals, feel like they cannot say what they want to say in public because they're afraid that they are going to be canceled, fired, cast out from polite society. And then this actually happened to a socialist moron named Nathan Robinson. He got canceled from The Guardian.
He's basically
saying he got canceled from The Guardian because he had put up some anti-Israel tweets. Okay, now I think he's an idiot. I think that his views on Israel are abhorrent. But I don't think that he should lose his columnist slot over at The Guardian. That's a different story, obviously, when it comes to any publisher. Any publisher gets to make decisions about what it wishes to purvey and not. He certainly would not defend anybody on the other side.
He used to say, now he's so he went against his word on basically everything that he said. He went the complete opposite because we found out that they fired her. They didn't have one of those contract disputes. They were like, you don't see the way that we say, you're being anti-us, goodbye. And they fired her. So that's just proof that he's a hypocrite.
Thoughts on this?
So I've been very open that I thought that the Daily Wire managed the whole thing with Candace in public and managed it very poorly. And then Ben Shapiro just come back on leadership and say, well, I'm a founder, but I'm not the CEO. And I'm not making decisions. I'm like, come on, dude, you just did. So I thought the way it played out in public from a leadership standpoint was not good. But I kind of see it another way. You determine the product you're going to put out. You determine, and for better or for worse. And if you get exposed like CNN did for spinning things, stifling things, and not really be journalists, then guess what? Your ratings go down, your ads go down, your business goes down. Now, let's take a look at this. What if, Pat, we had some people at PHP and we're selling life insurance, proven life insurance that's protecting families, is doing good stuff.
Sure.
Proven product.
Yep.
And what if we had somebody saying people going with they get their insurance license, they tell people, you should just buy gold. Life insurance really isn't it. You should just buy gold. Just buy gold, just do that. We would take them aside and say, what are you doing? You know what? We're here and we're training people and these are valid products. This is what we got. And you wouldn't be there. Vinny, if you had a car dealership and you were selling EVs and you would say, look, a Ford F-150 pickup with the diesel engine, the big F-250 with diesel, that's what you need to be hauling stuff around on your farm. You shouldn't be thinking about, EVs or something. You would be like, wait a minute, I hired you to sell EVs. So there is a part of it that the position of a company, you may not agree with it. You know what? If you're there and you're selling it, that's it. But I thought how it played out with Candace was just bad.
I want to give you, and I know where you're going with that, where, the product of the product, right? Be a product of the product. Like, for example, I remember when I bought cars from Jaime Godina, okay? And Jaime Godina sold me my Ford Focus and I believe the Expedition. When I was going broke, he got me a Ford Focus for $228 a month.
Wow.
If Jaime Godina, you guys can share this with him. I think he's at Nissan right now, or Honda right now. He's been with Honda. Stud of a guy. We bought so many cars from that guy, it's not even funny. I said, what do you drive? He says, I drive an Expedition. And I went to the back and I'm like, wow, you drive an Expedition? Absolutely. It's the best car to own. I do this with my family. I do this. I'm like, okay. So he worked at Ford and he drove a Ford. As a buyer, you respect that.
Of course.
You like that. I love that, right? I went to a country club the other day, and they're selling me the membership. And then the person selling me the membership said, and I like the fact that this person was very honest with us. I said, so how often do you bring your family here? Oh, I never bring my family here. I'm like, what? Are you being serious? Oh, we never use the facility. I'm like, whoa, it's kind of weird. It's like saying, well, hey, do you, and by the way, somebody may say, well, you work at Burger King, but you would never eat the same food because you're there all the time. You eat at Chipotle, you don't eat the food. Okay, I can see a part of that as well, the argument, fine. But a product of the product is the highest level. However, in PHP, Tom, we had, Christians, Muslims, 7 days, Catholics. We have whites, blacks, Asian, everything. People knew my position very, very strong. And it wasn't something that was indisputable. It wasn't like it was hidden. It wasn't a secret. You knew what I stood for. But at the same time, I was always in the business of converting, meaning if you're in the business of shifting people's mindset from not wanting to work hard, that takes a while. But it doesn't mean, nope, you're not, you're out, right?
Yeah.
If you're in the business of baptizing and converting and persuading and shifting and paradigm shift, you have to be very, 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 very patient. Do you know how many people eventually became a Christian simply because the way the person treated them? Do you know most people that become Christians or any denomination? Yesterday, the guy at the soccer game that we're watching, the what do you call it, the quarterfinals, Inter Miami against Monterrey. Phenomenal game. The guy right next to us, they were holding a 16 balloon. And I'm like, dude, that guy's son doesn't look like he's 16 years old. He looks 12 or 13. Why the hell is he holding a 16-year-old balloon? Finally, the guy comes. He's a Vitainer. He says, I'm your number one fan. I'm this, I'm that.
Adam.
Yeah, he says 17 years. Nicest guy, by the way.
Adam, amazing
17 guy. Years. 17 years. This Adam was. 17 years. 17 years he's been sober. And the other guy, they were celebrating his 16 years of being sober, right?
Amazing.
And I'm having this conversation with him, and he says, I went from being a Jew to being a Catholic. I said, what? You don't hear that often, by the way.
I've never heard it.
I said, you went from a Jew to a Catholic, yes. I said, tell me why. Why'd you go through it? He says, a big part of it was because when I was going through my sobriety, people from the Catholic Church were there for me.
Wow.
And so it means you have to know that conversion and baptism is just patience and being there and understanding. A guy leaves, you know how many guys left and they trashed me when they left? Okay, you're this and you're that and you're this and you're blah, 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 blah. And then they would call each other 5 years later. Hey, man, listen, You were right. I'd love to come back. I've changed. I've done this. I've done that. And not everybody. This is not saying everybody comes back. But there was a lot of people that would say that call. Why? Because you have to be patient. You have to be understanding. You have to know we're different. And you have to see what's going to happen. When people were saying what they were saying about this guy, you better fire him. You better do this. You better do that. You better do this. Listen, man, I'm patient. I'm understanding. I'm going through certain things. I'm going to see what's going to happen as a leader. And at Valuetainment, we do have one very clear value that we don't compromise, and that's capitalism. There is no, it's very public. Guess what? I'm not compromising that. It's proven. You have communism, you have socialism, you have capitalism. We're not debating this, right? But there's a difference between an economical system with believing in enlighten, empower, entertain, debate, where it's one of our big discourse where we like to debate, and you can't debate faith, and you can't debate religion, and you can't debate that. That's the problem with when you take that position. What you do after that kind of a move, if I'm a Jew, okay, and I'm a devout at his level, and I want to go to a company that I will feel 100% safe, guess what's officially the #1 media company to go to if you're Jewish and you want to proudly sell all the values and principles that you believe in? Guess what's #1 worldwide? It's officially Daily Wire.
Yep. If
that's your value. And there's nothing wrong with CBN is what? What does CBN stand for?
Christian Broadcasting Network.
It's not, a RBN, Religious Broadcasting Network. It's what? Christian Broadcasting Network. Daily Wire can be Daily DJW, Daily Jewish Wire, or DIW, Daily Israel Wire. No problem.
Yep.
If that's your value, stick to that. If that's your #1, maybe conservative America, all the other stuff comes next. But positioning-wise, business-wise, if you got an Andrew Schulz, what religion is Andrew Schulz, by the way? Is he a Catholic, Rob? What is Andrew Schulz?
Fake Jewish.
No,
everyone thinks he's Jewish. He's not.
No,
he was reading scripture the other day.
Irish Catholic, I think.
He was reading scripture the other day. He was reading scripture from the Bible the other day. Very weird that he was saying. I went to church, and when he was at church for first time, church on Sunday, and it was beautiful. We're crying 3 minutes. Is this it? Can you play this clip real quick? Yeah, this is him. Watch this.
Listen to what comedian Andrew Schulz had to say when he visited a church for the first time.
Went to church this Sunday, and it was beautiful. I'm crying within 3 minutes, bawling. I'm in this church, just listening to the music. I'm 3 minutes in, and I'm like, oh, there's a reason this took over the world. Christianity is incredible. You see so much selfishness, and for these people to sit in this room and then just give it up, it was beautiful.
You can pause it. So anyways, for him, he's a pretty reasonable guy and fair guy to say something like that. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what those guys do next.
Yeah. Can I respond?
Of course.
Cool. Well, #1, love Andrew Schulz. Majority of the time, he's got amazing takes. I don't know if he was right on this one. And I certainly don't think Akash was right. Here's what I'll tell you. It's NFL season right now. They're going to have the draft coming up soon. It's free agency season. They're talking about who the top free agents are. They're talking about what's going on out there. The #1 free agent out there in the YouTube talking head space is Candace Owens, no doubt. Whether you agree with her or disagree with her, she's out there and she'll be a force to be reckoned with, and she is going nowhere. Whether it works out with the Daily Wire or not, evidently it didn't, obviously. When it comes to this situation with Ben Shapiro, look, I got nothing to do with the Daily Wire. I'm not defending the Daily Wire. I have zero relationship with Ben Shapiro, zero. I ain't going to the Daily Jewish Wire. I'm here at Valuetainment. He's absolutely right, though. There's something called the Overton window, and that's what he's talking about. This is the problem with Ben Shapiro. He's so freaking smart that the average person is like, what is this guy even talking about? The Overton window has specifically to do with policy. Policy, not perspective, not opinion, policy. And the range of ideas that are allowed to be applied to policy. It is policy driven, not opinions. So it goes from what's a policy that is implementable to the masses, what's acceptable, what's popular, what's sensible. And then on the fringe of that is what is completely unthinkable and completely radical. He said straight up, this has nothing to do with her positions. And I don't think he's actually full on commented on what exactly happened. By the way, the Daily Wire, the cancel thing, there's a point there, but it's nuanced. The Daily Wire has every right to cancel whoever they want and fire whoever they want, because there's a difference between a publisher and a platform versus a private company. This has to do with Section 230, the whole conversation that's going on with cancel culture. Like if YouTube censors somebody or Twitter censors somebody or Facebook censors somebody, Meta, that is censorship. If the Daily Wire or The Blaze or Valuetainment for that matter, or Tucker Carlson Network, whatever he's working on, chooses to fire somebody, that's not censorship. That's a business decision. So I'm not defending what Ben Shapiro did with Candace or not. I'm just letting you know that's the reality of this Overton window. By the way, here's some examples of the Overton window. What was completely radical and now became policy. Slavery. That was part of the Overton window. That was part of policy-driven, you can own slaves. Hello? That would be completely unthinkable and radical at this point. Women's right to vote. Women's suffrage.
What did Candace say? What did Candace say that was overly unacceptable policy-wise?
So I'm not privy to what she said, but I will tell you this.
But that argument only carries weight if you can validate what Candace said that was so out of line that caused you to say, we don't, it's not about the decision. Or what did she say that was so overly offensive or something in the lines? Because you're comparing, slavery is okay is what you're saying.
No, I'm saying that within the Overton window, at one point it was okay.
No, I
just like women
I totally
not being able to vote was okay.
And
now it is not.
What I'm saying is, what did she say that was at that level of weight and impact to say, boom, we're out of here?
We don't know, but all I can do is tell you what we've seen online. Here's what I can tell you. By the way, 0 other Jewish people work for Daily Wire. Jordan Peterson, he's their number one guy, not Jewish. Matt Walsh, hardcore Christian. The other guy, Michael Knowles, Andrew Klavan, I think he's a born-again Jews for Jesus type of guy. Ben Shapiro's the only guy that's Jewish, so let's just say that. But there was a whole conversation, like Matt Walsh as an example, firm isolationist. Don't fund Ukraine. Don't fund Israel. Don't fund Taiwan. Firm isolationist. That's the position of the MAGA perspective these days. And Ben Shapiro said, yeah, that's totally cool with that. Whatever happened with the Christ is King, drinking Christian blood, that's a conversation that Candace and Ben, I think.
But what he's saying is because I follow this closely. Because guess what? She has her opinions about Israel and how they were acting post October 7th. And we're going to get into some of those stories. She didn't say anything that was like, I don't like Jews or I hate Jews or anything like that. When she says Christ is King, or when she interviewed that Rabbi Barkley and she said, what's her name's a hag. They were looking for stuff to call her anti-Semitic. Christ is King. That's anti-Semitic. That's horseshit. That's looking for reasons to fire her. And then my point is, Adam, I think you're missing the point. Ben Shapiro had been saying, hey, I don't make decisions. I'm just there. That's horseshit. Him and who's the CEO? Jeremy Boring.
Jeremy Boring. Yeah.
If you don't think they had a conversation after the Rabbi Shmuley where she was just talking to him about spitting facts, she's like, so what about the deaths? What about the innocent people? And Rabbi Shmuley, who I think is completely unhinged on all levels, it happened right after that. They're like, you know what? No more of her saying anything about Israel. We gotta get rid of her. It happened. It had immediately after that.
I don't see any problem with a Christian saying Christ is King.
Well,
that's
it's
your Lord and
anti-Semitic.
Savior.
It's
It's not.
Well, what do you mean? The whole Jewish
that's not anti-Semitic whatsoever.
A lot of people in the Jewish
community.
community.
As a Jew, I'm telling you, you can say Christ is King, or as a Muslim, you can say, Allah Akbar. Zero problem.
But that guy in the Daily Wire, you said there's no other Jews. Yes, there is. It's that other guy. Who's
Andrew Klavan?
Yeah, Andrew Klavan.
He's not Jewish.
Wait, what do you mean?
He's like a Jew for Jesus kind of.
Wait, time out. That guy's not Jewish?
I actually don't know
Adam,
the situation.
Can you go to him? I think he is Jewish, and he said that Christ is
born again or something.
Whatever it is. Is it in there?
He's not Ben Shapiro. That's all.
No, he's not. He's not Ben Shapiro. But what I'm saying is, it's as if they were looking for reasons. Adam, if I called, look at this freaking girl. She's a hag, and you on the cuff can be like, you know what? In 1700s, that was anti-Semitic.
I think
you're looking for.
Let me just say this, and let's move on to the next story. I think there's stuff that happened behind closed doors. I think there's also performance. I think there is. When one person gets more attention than another, I think it can be frustration. I think it can be, feel like I'm in a box and I have to do what you guys are wanting to do. You're just like Fox. And who knows, maybe that's what it is. And maybe it's like behind closed doors, she's challenging them constantly. Who knows? But those types of things, is very likely for it to happen.
I think it was
But if you're making that argument you made that he's making, you have to show proof with statements.
Yeah.
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying to you. So, for example, if somebody asks me,
but statements
like for example, for me, hey, it's either Mario or him. I'm choosing Mario. You understand what story I just said right there? Guess what? It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's not even a question about it.
Of course.
So, and that position ends right there, bro. You're not more important than Mario.
Yep.
I'm not even having a debate. Okay, got it. Hey, this is what we're doing. Pa, pa, pa. Got it. Hey, this is what we're doing. Pa, pa, pa. But if I say, imagine if I say something like this. Imagine if I say, well, you know, there comes a time where to be a host, if your body fat percentage is above 35%, what are you talking about? If you say it's that, give me proof. And if there's proof, then we say totally makes sense. Okay? If there's proof. That's all I'm saying. And so you have to be very, very technical when you're saying this, because you're also indirectly could potentially hurt that person's career wherever they go to next. This is a very fickle space. There's a lot of talent that at one point they were everywhere. You saw them everywhere. Boom, like this, done.
Yep.
Because something surrounded their reputation. That is not cool. This is how these people make a living, and this is a very difficult job to be a part of. Constant pressure, daily pressure. You're trying to have kids. You're trying to have a family. It is not easy. And by the way, even with Ben, when Ben is walking across the street, and I remember one time Nick was coming up to him and, you know, saying stuff to him. He's with his wife and his kids. Have you ever seen this when he's crossing the light?
Which Nick?
Your guy that was on your podcast.
Oh,
I'm also not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. So these are not things I'm a fan of, because I think Ben over the years, like I'm not a fan of this kind of stuff. This guy's with his kids. This is Boca Raton.
Who's this guy?
Nick
Fuentes.
Keep playing the clip rap. Is this the one that he's crossing the light with his? Yeah, you see, you don't. Let me tell you, bro. Oh, dude, that you can pause it right there. I am not a fan of that, dude. You come like that with kids around me. I am not a fan of that. I will give you respect. Walk side with me. Can I talk to you for a minute? No problem. I'm not a fan of this kind of stuff, and I think Ben is very necessary. I just think you can't make an accusation like that if that's the position he's taken without breaking down exactly what it is.
I we'll find out what happened there, I'm sure. But I'll give one more anecdote here. Culture is huge in a company. We know that. What do you always say is that culture eats strategy for breakfast,
Steve Jobs,
right?
Yeah.
So look, when you look at the Daily Wire, respect to those guys, I would classify them as like deep intellectuals. Ben Shapiro, they're very like, you know, kind of like the Tom thing, you know, like they're very Harvard graduate, business school driven, very policy driven, smart guys. And great, that works for some people. Candace Owens, we've spent a good amount of time with her. She's just chill and cool as hell. So I've seen them do their sort of roundtable stuff. They're hanging out, they're smoking cigars, they're talking trash, they're kind of doing their thing. I think from a cultural fit, I just don't think that she fit there in that crew. I think there's a lot of other companies out there she fits better.
But say that.
Yeah.
Say that. So the cause for it not working out is that instead of something else. You know what I'm saying? It's like back in high school. She's a hoe. She's a work out. And bro, you're like, we had a girl, and she had a boyfriend. One guy she was with. Okay, and she left him. Okay. The guy went around telling do you know for like 5 years everybody thought she was one? And then you know what happened 5 years later? She's been with 2-3 guys. No one ever came out that anything ever happened, even when you're drunk, acting stupid, and we're all in the space. But the guy eventually said, nah, man, she was never one. I was just an idiot kid that said something like this because I didn't know how to handle it. Running a business is a lot of pressure, guys, on how to handle it. So I think Daily Wire is learning on how to run their company. It's not easy. We're all learning. Trust me, operating is very, very, very difficult. The world can say whatever the hell they want to say. When you're in the kitchen making decisions on how to do everything and food tastes like shit, you get the heat when the food tastes like crap. But if you're in the kitchen and you put some food that tastes amazing, what do people say? What a great chef. Not every day is going to be perfect, and you don't make all the good decisions, and that's totally fine. And I wish both of them the best in business. They're both necessary. We'll see what happened there.